Meditation could offer a surprising relief from karma. What is karma's best antidote? It's not mantra, it's not bowing, it's not offerings, it's not ritual. Karma's best antidote is simply mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness to help us identify the triggers in our life. Triggers for our rage, our terror, our despair, our greed, our impulsiveness, and meditation to release them, to transcend them. So let's review the mechanics of how these two work. We'll begin with how mindfulness works. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we access the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the thoracic region of our spinal cord that corresponds to our rib cage. It's not wired for active concentration, but instead for perception that is vulnerable, passive, visceral, and random. The cool thing is we don't have to force it. We are already wired for this, as is inferred by the 12-syllable phrase, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. Then how does meditation work? Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we access the parasympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the lower lumbar region of our spinal cord, as well as the tippy top of the cervical region. It is evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release, as we see in the 12-syllable phrase, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. We don't have to force this. We are already wired to do this. In a few minutes, we'll explore 12-syllable, 3-syllable, and even 1-syllable meditation techniques to help our brain to get out of our way and help us to access the programming that really is our birthright. I look forward to chanting and meditating with you after about 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. I spent more than 30 years, for more than 30 years, I spent more than 8 hours a day every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you would not have to. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. This concise sadhana of green Tara was composed by Atisha many centuries ago, and it has been adapted and amplified by myself. Our first exercise is going to serve as a preliminary to meditation and cause our energy to both coalesce within our central channel and ascend to the crown of our head. And we're doing this simply, effortlessly, by chanting this highly figurative quatrain. Please join me, won't you? Won't you please place your hands in the puckered palm position overhead. Lama Drojang, please come to this crown and lavish me with the attainments both conventional and ultimate. Lama Drojang, please come to this crown and lavish me with the attainments both conventional and ultimate. Lama Drojang, please come to this crown and lavish me with all the attainments both conventional and ultimate. As children, the first bicycle we received most likely came with training wheels, which, although were clunky, got the job done. This morning's first meditation is also going to be clunky, using the phrases we discussed in the opening lesson. During each inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. And during each exhalation, let's silently and mentally recite, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. No, Virginia, this is not an affirmation. Affirmations deal with faith and belief and wishing and magical thinking. This is an accurate depiction of the neurological processes in play right now. Come together, let us practice. Or perhaps I should say, come, let us practice together right now. Let us perform 2 recitations that help us to exercise the neural pathways responsible for the empathy of bodhicitta and the enthusiasm of refuge. Our first recitation is rather literal, and we're setting it to a triplet chant. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on thee, Buddha's example, instructions, and students. Our second recitation has the exact same meaning, but the wording is different. This recitation is more concise and more figurative, and we're setting it this time to a bookend chant, which is our go-to melody. May I liberate all beings by relying on the 3 jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the 3 jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the 3 jewels. We turn our attention now to the 4 immeasurables of compassion, love, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. May everyone be free from suffering, may everyone be happy, may no one be separated from the happiness May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, freed. Let's review the meaning of emptiness. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our previous inhalation could feel as not graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a beautiful cloudless morn, which, although compelling to the eye, is not graspable to the hand. And now the Sanskrit. Om Subha Vashuddha Sarva Dharma Subha Vashuddhoham, which translates as Om all phenomena, including myself, are purified of conventional existence. Everything becomes as non-graspable as emptiness, which is rather cryptic and makes more sense when we view it through the lens of wisdom's dance of impermanence and interdependence. We begin with the circumstantial. We're going to chant an extensive rhetorical question. Then we're going to silently and mentally recite its concise counterpart during our inhalation and during our exhalation. What could it look like if all circumstances are lost, blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this body or form? What could it feel like if all forms or bodies blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this communicational speech? What could it sound like if all interpersonal speech blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this mind? What could it be like if all minds blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into a vast empty void? During our inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite the rhetorical question, how relax into the awareness of this, and during our exhalation, let's physically relax as best we can whilst chanting this 10-syllable mantra. Om tare do da de do re so om da de do da de do re so om da de do da de do re so om da de do da de do re so om. Om da de do da de do re so om da de do da de do re so om da de do da de do re so om da de do da de do re so om. Om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om. Om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om. And now let us remove the first of two metaphoric training wheels, reducing our contemplative exercise from 12 syllables down to just 3. During our perceptive inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, "Notice this." And during our releasing exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, "Relaxing." Let us come to our second energy work meditation. This energy work is known by many names. We've discussed the phrase Anu Yoga. It's also known as completion stage, Bindu Mahamudra, as well as Tokal. Together. From the emptiness appears a subtle palm which transforms into a lotus seed. On top of this appears a subtle lava which transforms into a moonset the size of a thumbnail, on which this mind appears in the form of the green letter T the size of a mustard seed. Our practice is going to culminate in 8 mantra meditations that are dependent upon simile and metaphor. We therefore contemplate an archetype of enlightened activity to organize these metaphors. Now in the aspect of a green soda built on my it, then make offerings to all the Buddhas, thus empowering the possibility of benefiting all sentient beings, thus inferring both interdependence as well as impermanence. May the reason reabsorb into this mind and thus become like the archetype Tata of the rosewood forest. In the final 4 mantra meditations, our similarity to this archetype of enlightened activity will be made clear. Her body is comprised of green light. She has 2 hands and 1 face. Her right hand resting on her right knee is in the giving mudra. Her left hand is at her heart with a ring finger and thumb pressed together, holding the stem of the blue pala flower which blossoms at her left ear. She is peaceful and smiling and fully matured. She is adorned with all the precious garments and ornaments. Her left foot is tucked in and her right foot is slightly extended. So now we're going to play with Buddhist hand jive, beginning with placing our hands before our forehead. Tada's back rests against a full moon throne on her forehead is a syllable. Now we remove the second of two metaphoric training wheels, thus reducing our contemplative exercises from 3 syllables down to just 1. During our perceptive inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, and during our releasing exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the monosyllabic verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax. Pardon me. Let's continue with the Buddhist hand jive, placing our hands before our throat. Untied throat is the syllable. Together, as a team, let us meditate as transformatively as Rey on Ahch-To under the guidance of Luke Skywalker. And on Tada's sternum is a syllable. We're going to shatter the duality of elitism that says the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are distant and better than you and I, and instead explore the non-duality that all the archetypes representing all the teachings of the Buddha are as close as every cell of our bodies. From the sternum whom may not raise emit and invoke all the Buddhas of the 10 directions, each in the form of great Tata. So now we have a rather complex hand jive. Om ben za samayan za hum bum ho. May all these yadams absorb into oneself. Again from the seats of the honest and a main light regime, it had invoked the 5 initiating jhana buddhas. Again, we transcend the elitism and receive empowerment on our own. Now we recite Om Vajrasamaya and make the request. Please, all Buddhas, bestow on me all empowerments. Then the Tathagata say Om Sarva Tathagata Abhishika Samaya Shriyahum. Having spoken thusly, they pour water from a vessel on top of our heads. The water goes throughout her bodies, purifying all bodily defilements. It fills up our bodies to the top of our heads. Then on top of our heads appears a new Menakaya form of Amitabha. Amitabha. We're going to blend the idea of making offerings, which increase our good karma. At least that's what the tradition tells us, with the practice of contemplating the two truths of mindfulness and meditation, perceiving and releasing. I offer the experience of wisdom thus appearing, it is not graspable as a void. Om Shamatara Adashe Pati Sohum Soham. I offer the experience of wisdom sense fragrant yet as not graspable as a void. Om Shamatara Gante Pati Sohum Soham. I offer the experience of wisdom sounds resounding yet as not graspable as a void. Om Shamatara Vini Parti Sohum Soha. I offer the experience of wisdom tastefully flavorful yet as not graspable as a void. Om Shamatara Rase Parti Sohum Soha. I offer the experience of wisdom feeling sensual yet as not graspable as a void. Om Shamatara Parshe Pati Sohum Soham. I offer the experience of wisdom thoughts yet as not graspable as a void. Om Shamatara Dharme Pati Sohum Soham. And now let us rest in mindfulness and meditation. Welcome to this morning's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. And now we are ready for mantra meditation. At one spot on the moon, say there is a green syllable tom, surrounded by the 10 syllables om tade tu de so ham. O Mama, she taught us the swift and courageous you drive away all fears with tutare. Whoops, one moment, please bear with me. Savior is fulfilling all aims of duty with a syllable, so how we offer homage. From these syllables may rays of light emit and make offerings to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, thus empowering our ability to benefit all sentient beings. May all the powers, blessings, and love of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas manifest in the form of rays of light, which absorb into the mantra rosary, encircling the hot seat syllable. We now recite the mantra 128 times or as much as possible. Now we come to the 8 mantra meditations. The second 8 will focus on awareness and letting go, and the first 8 will focus on love and letting go. The Buddha was fond of organizing all things, beings, and phenomena according to the 4 bases of mindfulness: the circumstantial, the physical, the interpersonal, and the mental. So right now we're going to bring the mental into the path of love and letting go. We're going to begin with what we call wishing love, a verbal recitation of wishing love, and then a silent, concise version of the same thing. This is going to make use of simile and metaphor because quite simply, complex life forms on this planet have evolved to think symbolically. May all minds of all beings now be as peaceful and wise as the mind of a Buddha of law symbolized by a one-syllable Siti clay or Bija mantra. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite our loving wish, and during our exhalation, we can physically relax as best we can while chanting this 10-syllable mantra. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re So 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 May all beings enter personal experience of communication or speech now be as joyful and laughing as a real or imagined Buddha's communication symbolized by this 10-syllable mantra. Om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om. Om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om. Om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om. Om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om. At any point during the remainder of this morning's live stream, you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. May all bodies or forms of all beings know and show the beautiful, health depicted in Buddhist art. Of the blissful body of a yidam of lore and archetype of enlightenment. Om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om. Om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om. Om da de do re so 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 om. Om da de do re so 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 om. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have their safety, good fortune, and boon. As a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land or Vanti. Om da de do re so om da de do re so om va de do re so om da de do re so om. Om da de do re so 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 om. Om da de do re so 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 om. Om da de do re so 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 om. As promised, we've come now to the final four mantra meditations, where instead of exploring love and letting go, we will explore awareness and letting go. And we will also explore in what ways we are similar to the archetype of enlightened activity. How is it that as we inhale, our circumstances or our loss could appear quite vivid? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined paradise or body of light. Because just like the archetype of enlightened compassion of lore, our circumstances are seen, yet as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Da de do da de do de so 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 va de do da de do de so va da de do da de do de so 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 da de do da de do de so. How is it that as we inhale, all bodies or forms could feel quite sensual? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined archetype or yidam of light. Oh, is our body like the real or imagined body of the archetype of enlightened activity? Our bodies, too, are felt, yet as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om. How is it that as we inhale the interpersonal experience of communication or speech could be quite resounding? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel as not graspable as a real or imagined mantra of light. Om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so om da de do da de do de so How is it that as we inhale, we could perceive all mind's functions quite clearly? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as not graspable as a real or imagined seeds at a bottom of light. Da de do da de do de so 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 da de do da de do de so. How is our mind like the mind of the archetype of enlightened activity? Our minds too are clear yet void. Da de do da de do de so da de do da de do de so da de do da de do de so da de do da de do de so. Da de do da de do de so da de do da de do de so da de do da de do de so da de do da de do de so. Let us conclude this morning's practice with a bit of the old wishing love. May all the common and supreme attainments of magical powers and full enlightenment be lavished upon us sentient beings and myself. Through all recitation and meditation, may all sickness, poverty, and warfare be completely pacified. And may Dharma and good omens be all pervasive. That is odd. Maybe what's going on is Well, that's weird. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 2/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, that is weird. Look at that. May the force be with you always.